Okay, bonjour. Here we are back for subjunctive part 2. I'm going to set a timer to make sure that I don't go over. And voila. Okay, so we were talking in the last video that subjunctive is used for basically anything that's not just a straight statement of fact. We're still in the present tense here. We're just expressing something other than fact, maybe something like wishes, desires, emotions, wants, feelings, or doubts. And we've already looked at the endings, and we said they are correct for rules 1, 2, and 3 with no exceptions. Okay, and there are 4 rules total, so there's only one we'll have to remember differently. So we've looked at rule 1 and 3 because rule 2 takes a little bit more time, and so we're going to go over rule 2 and rule 4 in this video. Okay, so rule 2 still uses these same endings, and rule 2 is for two-stemmed verbs. Okay, so I think this is the one that's the most complicated to explain. So put your thinking caps on here and stay with me. Okay, so let's say we have a verb in the regular indicative. I'm talking like up here at the very beginning, one of these verbs. Okay, let's say we had one that has 2 stems. What do I mean by 2 stems? Let's take a look at a verb like boire. Okay, the verb to drink. If I were looking at that regularly, okay, forget about subjunctive for a moment, just regular indicative, how I learned to use the verb to drink in first year French, I would do je bois and tu bois and il boit, and I would do nous buvons and vous buvez, and ils boivent. Okay, so by to stem in the subjunctive, I mean ones that the new form of the verb looked different from the ILS form of the verb. Okay, it's got 2 stems. You've got BUV here, you've got BOIV here. Okay, let's take a look at another one like prendre. Prendre is the verb to take. So just regular, forget subjunctive for a second, just like back in French 1, how was I learning to conjugate the verb to take? We did je prends, tu prends, il prend. We did a nous prenons, and a vous prenez, and an ils prennent. Okay, so now with subjunctive, I mean that the new form, P-R-E-N, looks different from the ILS form, which is P-R-E-N-N. Okay, let's take a look at one more. Let's do let's say venir. It's a verb to come. So again, just regular present tense. Forget all about this subjunctive stuff. If I were going to conjugate like I'm coming, and you're coming, and he's coming, je viens, tu viens, il vient. Sorry. I don't even know what those noises were. Sorry. Nous venons, vous venez, and ils viennent. Okay. Oops. Oh my gosh. Oh la la. Okay. So again, it's now to stem in the subjunctive because my new form looks different than my ILS form. VEN is different from VIENN. Okay, and there are more that are like this. Okay, anytime up here you saw ones that were different. For example, okay, I don't see any right now, but there are more, okay? Please note that you're more, and I just apparently am not going to be able to find any of them by looking at that. Anything that ends in YER does that. Here we go, because like this, this in the new form with a Y is different from this with an I. There we go, I found one. Ooh, is voir up here? There's another one, voir. Yeah, so like VOY is different from VOI. Okay, so there's a couple more. There are others as well. Oh, devoir is another one. I just saw it there too. So DEV is different from DOIV. Okay, so see, they exist. All right. So that's what I mean by two stem, by the way. Okay, so they look different. So because they look different, they're going to fall under this rule 2. And how does that apply? Okay, so now to put these verbs in the subjunctive, I wish I could keep going over, but I'll go down. In your notes, you might just want to like draw an arrow and do it like right here, but that seems like too much tabbing for me. Okay, so now let's take that same verb boire, and now I want to go subjunctive on it. Okay, so again, thinking caps on, stay with me. So the L shape, meaning the je, tu, il, and il, is going to come from the ILS form minus the ENT, okay? So here I'm going to go BOIV, 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 and moving across the L, BOIV, okay? But then my nu and vu form in the subjunctive are going to come from the nu form minus the O and S. So these two are going to come from, see, too much shouting. BUV goes here, and BUV goes here, okay? So that's what I mean. Once I have that, the L shape and the nu vu form, because they're two stems, then I'm going to go back and put those same endings on here, okay, that we've been using for rule 1 and rule 3 as well. So que je boive, que tu boives, qu'il boive, que nous buvions. There's never any exceptions on the endings. Oops, except for you got to put an S there where it goes. Bouvier and boive. Okay, so this is kind of weird because we took off the ENT, but now we're going to add back an ENT, and it's going to end up being the same word as the regular one. They just came from different places. Okay, so let's do prendre as well, just to make sure that we're getting an idea. So this is what it was in the present indicative, and now I want to make it present subjunctive. So not just you're taking a shower, but oh my gosh, you've got to take a shower. I want you to take a shower. Je veux que tu prennes une douche. Okay, we've got to take some pictures. Okay, il faut que nous prenions des photos. Okay, we're just expressing something other than just statement of fact. So my L shape is going to come from the ILS minus ENT. So this one's got the double N, PRENN, 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 and PRENN. But then the nu vu form is going to come from the nu form, okay? So that one's only PREN and PREN, but the endings are the same. So que je prenne, que tu prennes, qu'il prenne, que nous prenions, que vous preniez, and qu'il prenne with an ENT, okay? And you would get the idea. If we were going to do venir, we would take VIENN and put it do, and you would take VEN and put it do, and then you would add the endings. Okay, so that's what I mean by two stem. Okay, so you'd have to really think about. Now, a couple of them that we were looking at up here, it was hard for me to find one for a second because a couple of those fell under other rules. Okay, like these three actually. Well, pouvoir would have been different. So some of them might have fallen under these rules: avoir and être, funky, aller, vouloir. We're going to talk about those in just a second. But in general, if it had two stems in the present indicative, now it's going to be a two-stem verb for subjunctive, and will fit under this rule too. Okay, so I've got a rule 2b, and that's because I think these two verbs kind of deserve their own like subcategory. So aller and vouloir both have two stems in the subjunctive, okay, but they don't necessarily have this pattern of two stem, okay. So let's take a look at aller. So some people just have you like know what it is, but I think it's kind of useful to think of it as like a subset of this rule. So aller in the L shape, okay, in the L shape is going to be AILL, and you just have to remember that, because that clearly didn't come from the ILS form. The ILS form was vont, V-O-N-T, okay? But the nu vu form comes from ALL, and that is the nu form, okay? So this is what you have to remember is different, and you'll use that for je, tu, il, and il, and you'll use this for the nu and vu. So il faut que j'aille, like I gotta go. Il faut que tu ailles, qu'il aille. But, oh my gosh, I gotta quit doing that. I hit tab and then it zooms down instead of going across. Que nous allions, okay, so that came from here. Que vous alliez, so that came from here. And then back to the L shape, so qu'il aille. Okay, aille. A-I-L-L-E-N-T, aille. Qu'il aille, okay. So it is a two stem, okay, and they're the same endings as before, but you just have to remember that this one did not come from ILS. And the same thing with vouloir, okay? It's two stem, they just didn't quite come from the same place. So for the L shape, you just have to remember, and I don't even know where they got this word, that it's veuil, V-E-U-I-L-L, okay? You just have to remember that. But the nu vu form does come from the nu form vouloir. So that's normal. It's just this is funky, okay? They also use this for the irregular imperative as well. Like, please be patient. You'll see veuillez patienter on quite a few things. Please throw away your trash. Veuillez, jeter les déchets dans la poubelle or whatever. So again, if you're going to conjugate that, que je veuille, que tu veuilles, qu'il veuille, okay, and then in the L shape still, il veuille. The endings are the same, okay, but que nous voulions and que vous vouliez, okay. So again, I'm going to call that rule 2B because it is an L shape, like a two-stem thing, just it's weird because this and this are different, okay? So hopefully that made more sense now than it did when we've looked at this in the past. Some of these rules, I think, just if you take a step away from them for a while, it makes more sense, okay? I just have a couple minutes left in this video, so I'm going to cover what is down here. Prenier. I was missing the letter S. Nobody told me that earlier. Okay, I typed it in my head. All right. Okay, so we've done rule 3. Let's just do rule 4 really quickly. This is the only one that doesn't have these endings, so forget all about these endings. If there had to be 2 that were just whacked out, plain weird, of course it's these 2, and you just have to know them. So for the verb être, you just have to know in the subjunctive that it's soit, soit, and that's another one that they use for the imperative as well, giving a command. So if you want to tell somebody be on time, you would say sois à l'heure, be on time. But that is not what we're talking about now. We're talking about subjunctive. Okay. And then you have to know it's soyez, no, soyons, and soyez, and soit. Okay. And then you have to know that avoir is weird too, and you just have to know it. So que j'ai, que tu aies, qu'il ait, que nous ayons, que vous ayez, and qu'ils aient. Okay, so that's weird because we actually think of that as a verb ending. That word a is the ending for imparfait and the ending for conditional, but in the subjunctive, it's the word have. Okay, they also use this one for the imperative, like giving commands as well. Like we read a story this year where the guy on the train, well, for French 4 at least, said, "Don't be scared, n'ayez pas peur." Okay, so those are just a few irregular ones for the imperative, but we're not talking about imperative, we're talking about subjunctive. So just know that you just need to know those 2. Okay, real quick, how much time do I have on this video? Just a couple minutes. If you were to do the past subjunctive, which I promise I'm not going to ask you about, tell you about, or anything, but if you were to do the past subjunctive, you know how you do the regular passé composé, where it's just the indicative form of être, like je suis, tu es, nous sommes, okay? And then it's like a past participle, okay? Why did I put som there? You know it's a, okay? A, som, et som, all right? Clearly I'm distracted by, I don't know what right now. Anyway, so this would be your helping verbs, and down here it would be ai, as, a, in the past subjunctive, it's just this as your helping verb, and then your past participle. So this would be your Mrs. P.R.D. Vanderjamp ones, and this would be everything else. Okay, so now that I was distracted while I was saying that, so you probably didn't understand what I was saying at all, just know that there is a past subjunctive, and these would be the helping verbs that you would use in place of the regular être and avoir that you use in regular passé composé. Okay, I'm done talking about that. We'll stop this video and we'll start, and there's my alarm anyway. So we'll stop this video and move to plus que parfait next. Okay, merci, au revoir.